Hello and welcome to today's practice. Today's practice is going to be a 20-minute flow to invite calmness and empowerment in to start your day. So I love the word empower. I feel like it always gives me energy. It's always ready to drive me to the next thing, and it just sort of excites me. So as we move through practice today, I hope that you build a foundation, finding that calmness within your breath and in your body, and then allowing room for that empowering just energy to sort of help you greet the day. So you won't need anything but just a block today, and we're going to start in this kneeling position. If for some reason this does not agree with your knees or it just feels uncomfortable, you can always just come to a seat. Towards the end of practice, we're going to add in some of that Kapalabati breathing, and so I'll talk just a little bit more about that once we get to the end of class. Otherwise, you're just going to take a seat. I want you just to close your eyes, maybe flip your palms up, and then just take a few moments to find your breath, just to find that connection with your breath this morning. And as you pause in this space, maybe you can start to sort of take an inventory physically of how your body feels, how things are feeling for you this morning on an emotional level. Sometimes we wake up in the morning and we don't always feel that great, and I'm really big about just owning that and not always meeting that expectation of being 100%. So I feel like in order for us to be able to grow personally and within our practice, we have to admit that we're not always functioning at 100%. So just checking in with yourself, deciding where you are this morning, and then pausing in that space for a moment. Again, just pulling the breath in the nose and releasing it out of the nose. And again, just taking some time here as you breathe to just let those words of calmness and empowerment just sort of move around in your mind. Breathing that into your body this morning, exhaling any stagnant energy that you may have collected over the night, or maybe you're just getting off work, wherever you're feeling just a little stiff, or maybe you're holding something that just you don't need. You can release that on that exhale. You have just a few more breaths here. Nice and smooth, soften through your face. Good. The next time you inhale, I want you to take your arms all the way up. As you reach those arms up, you're going to interlace your fingers, and they're just going to rest at the back of the neck or back of the head, wherever feels comfortable for you. Maybe the thumbs resting down the back of the neck feels better. So we're going to have just almost like a little seated cat-cow here. So you're going to inhale as you open, and then exhale, you're going to round. Good. Inhale, open. You had 10 of these, so we're just going to take our time and exhale. Inhale, open. Exhale, soften. Good. Inhale, opening that heart space. Exhale, softening and rounding back to the center. Good. Inhale. And exhale. Really move with intention here, not just forcing the body to open, but really offering a gentle stretch as you open, elbows wide. And exhale, soften. Good. You have about 4 more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, reach. And exhale, soften. Good. 2 more in this space. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Good. Last one. Inhale, open. Exhale, you soften. Here, you're going to inhale. You're going to open once more. I want you just to take the arms out. Maybe roll the wrist for a moment. Take them one way and then the other. Good. And then just soften things down for a moment. Maybe start to roll those shoulders. Good. Take just a few times here. Again, this is a 20-minute practice, so I don't want to rush through things knowing that there's only 20 minutes to fit everything in, but just a little movement throughout the body so that we can target the whole body to get us moving. Good. Pausing in this space for a moment. I want you just to take the arms overhead. So you're going to take opposite elbows. So just remember the pattern of this because we're going to swap it up a little bit. Whatever feels good. You can rest here or you can take them behind the back. Whatever feels good. As long as you're bringing that chest forward, you're resting in that space of opening the heart center. And then just having those 5 breaths here, really opening up the lungs as you pull that breath in. Staying for that exhale. Good. You can even swap this up if you want. Maybe you reach back behind you, whatever feels good. Just again, opening up and pausing. Good. Again, inhale, reach as you swap those elbow or hands. So just a little movement here. Inhale and exhale. Good. Last breath here. Full breath in and out as you soften. Good. Reach those arms up. Nice stretch. And then exhale, hands through. So if you're on the block, you're going to come off the block. You're just going to set it to the side. And then you're going to come on to all 4. So once we get there, we're in that tabletop position. Just knees hip distance apart. Again, if you have knee issues, you can always fold up your mat or use a blanket just for that extra support. So once you get there, I want you just to take a moment to add in some circles. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then reverse that direction. And taking just a moment here. And then pausing in the center for those cat-cows. Inhale, lift. And exhale, start to round as you tuck that tailbone underneath. Inhale, lift. And exhale, soften. Good. You have 3 more. Good. Take your time. Use your breath. Exhale and round. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Good. Last one here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, come all the way through, really tucking that tailbone underneath. Good. And then softening. You're going to start to tuck your toes. You're going to come into that downward facing dog. So it is a morning practice, so make sure that you're deeply bending those knees. Good. Take your time here. Play with this posture. Good. Allow some gentle stretching to happen. Good. Pedal the feet. Maybe one heel drops and then the other. Good. Taking your time. Good. Nice and slow. Good. And then allow maybe both heels to sort of drop towards the mat. You can still have a deep, deep bend in those knees. Close the eyes. Shake the head yes. Shake it no. Just pausing here. Taking another breath.
And then inhale, slowly look up. You're going to step up towards the top of the mat. So you have your block here. If you need your block just for a little extra support, you can always use it. You can flip it to whatever setting that you need. Otherwise, you're just going to relax all the way down for a moment. Maybe you notice the legs are super stiff. So just taking your time here. Then you're going to inhale, halfway lift. Nice flat back as you inhale, and then exhale, soften. Inhale, you're slowly going to start to roll all the way up. Good, nice and slow. Inhale, those shoulders roll back, taking your time. Good, and then I want you to pause here for a moment. So finding a little grounding. So maybe the feet are just a little wider than your hips, and then just soften for a moment. Taking that breath, greeting the day, inviting in that calm foundation, that calming breath, and that empowerment, allowing us to be empowered as we rise, as we move, as we breathe, as we greet the day. So just holding on to those words and really letting them settle in. Good. Another breath here, just to remind our bodies and our mind of our breath, and again, those intentions of calmness and empowerment. When you're ready, I want you to slowly interlace the fingers behind your back. So again, just inhale. I want you to open up, really let those fists or knuckles reach towards the floor. Soft bend in the knees. Inhale, open. As you exhale, you're slowly going to hinge forward. Again, if this doesn't feel right, you can always release the hands. But again, just softening into this space. Nice deep breath in. And exhale, softly release those hands. Gonna inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, soften. You're going to step back to a plank. So deciding where you need to be this morning. If you need to lower your knees, you can always do that. Otherwise, you're going to stay lifted. Decide what you need. Good. You have 3 breaths here. Good. Tuck that belly button in. Nice long line of energy. Inhale. And exhale. Good. One more breath. And then exhale, you drop the knees. I want you to slowly lower down. So really take your time. Let those elbows graze your ribs as you start to soften towards the mat. Good. Once you get there, I want you to adjust. So making sure that you're pressing your pubic bone into the mat. Take your time here. Again, just soften. And then you're going to slide the hands just above the shoulders, or a little underneath the shoulders rather. And then you're going to inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, soften. Good. 2 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, soften. Good. One more time here, really pressing that pubic bone into the mat. Inhale, lift. Exhale, soften. You're going to tuck your toes. You're going to press into the mat. You're just going to come all the way back to that child shape. So taking your knees the width of the mat, you're just going to soften down. So softening into this child shape. Again, you have your block. If you need a little extra support, you can place that block underneath your forehead, or you can rest it back behind you if you need a little extra hip support. That is completely up to you. You decide what feels right for you here, and then soften in for those 3 breaths. Again, finding that connection with that third eye here as you rest onto the mat, inviting that beautiful energy. And I know it's kind of like contraindicated when we say energy and then talk about calmness, But there is a calming energy. Energy doesn't always mean fast and flowing and moving. Sometimes it's just very intentional, fluid, and soft. And so that is kind of what I'm talking about this morning as far as when I say that calming energy, inviting it in, and then finding that empowerment, gathering that calming energy to feel refreshed and ready to start the day. Again, just another breath here. Good. And then slowly start to lift as you come up. Maybe take a moment, take the knees, the hips side to side, and then we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So, again, a little stretch for the low back this morning. Again, take your time getting into these spaces. I want you to come all the way down once again. Just allowing the elbows underneath the shoulders. So when you get there, you're going to soften through your knees. Just going to inhale and lift. And then exhale, stay. So giving time for your low back to soften, the back to relax just a little bit. Inhale, lift. And exhale. Good. You have just 3 breaths here, so we're not looking to get super deep into this. Again, last breath here. And soften. Good. Relaxing, taking those elbows out to the side. I want you just to pause here for a moment. Maybe stack the hands on top of one another and pause. Taking just a gentle breath or two in. Again, just connecting with your breath, connecting with yourself. Finding that beautiful energy and pulling it in. Good. Last breath here. Good. And then softly, you're going to move into a half frog. So you're just going to slide one leg out to the side, making sure that your hip and your knee are in alignment. Toes are pointed out. Your foot is flat. So everything is sort of in alignment. And then you're just going to rest. You can take a cheek to the mat. Soften into this space. You have just 2 or 3 breaths here. Relaxing through the knee all the way through that hip joint, softening the pelvis and the tailbone. Just allowing for a little extra space. Taking note of any stiffness you feel. Good. Another breath. Good. When you're ready, slowly start to lift. I want you to slide that leg back very gently. Take your time, and I'm going to move this direction so I can give you guys a better view of this side. So wherever you are, once again, just softening in the center for a moment and then sliding that leg out again, making sure that your knee and hip are in alignment, that your knee is not passing your hip, the foot is flexed, and then softly settle in for those few breaths. Again, just taking your time. Softening, pulling in that energy for the day. Just starting to notice how your body is feeling, how it's responding to that mindfulness, to that breath. Good. Last breath here. Good. And then slowly start to press yourself up just a little bit, enough to slide that leg back. Bring those hands just underneath your shoulders. Take one last little cobra. And then exhale, soften. You're going to slide your pelvis over to one side or the hips to one side, and then you're just going to roll onto your back. So once you get onto your back, take a moment. Good. Maybe start to bring both legs all the way up, rolling those ankles for just a moment. Good. And then opening up for that happy baby. So you have options here. You can always grab behind the thigh, or you can take your big toes, your peace fingers around your big toes. You can play with this posture for a moment. Again, it is your practice. You have to find whatever feels most comfortable and right for your body. And then just a breath or two here. Good, just to let things get a little heavier. Good, one more breath. Let those shoulders get away from the ears so they're just gently reaching towards the mat. And then soften as you release those feet. Bring the knees in towards the chest, a little squeeze. And then roll onto your side so you can make your way into a seat. So once you get there, I talked about that Kapalabati breathing. And so there's a couple of things I just want you to be mindful of. If you are sick, if you have any sinus issues, if you are pregnant, if you have high blood pressure or anything like that, please opt out. You can just sit with your eyes closed as you normally would. I'm not the greatest at this, so we are going to give it a try. I'm working on it in my own personal practice, and so I wanted to share it with you. It is a great breath work to ignite that energy, that fire within us, and so I think it goes along perfect with today's practice. So we are going to take the arms up into a V. This just symbolizes the triangle, which is sort of like the Trinity between the body, the mind, and the soul. And we are going to take a nice deep breath in and out. And then you're just going to take another breath in with me in just a second, and we're going to exhale through the nose. So we're really going to push that breath out. I know it seems a little funny, but once you get the hang of it, it's really kind of nice. So again, take a nice deep breath in, and then exhale. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, pause. Good. We have one more round. You're going to inhale, take that nice deep breath in, and exhale. Full breath in and out. Exhale, bring those hands down. Good. Take just a moment. Let that breath return to normal. Maybe you start to notice a little surge of energy. The blood is flowing. Maybe the arms feel a little tingly. Just a few breaths here to pause, to welcome in the day, to welcome in this practice. Just again, being mindful of that calming energy, followed by that beautiful empowerment to greet the day. I want you to inhale, take your arms all the way up.
And exhale, hands to heart, taking just a moment to find gratitude for this practice, for this beautiful day, honoring this online space, which is honoring to me to be in, to be able to share the things that I have learned that works for me with you all. Thank you so much for meeting me in this beautiful space. I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.